Welcome to part 3 of the guitar fretboard study. Got patterns, the 1 and the 5th. I'm going to now demonstrate how to locate the 5th relative to the root note for a major chord. Okay. Well, first thing we need to do is to pull out our trusty little schematic right here, our blank sheet, and we'll continue on with the key or in the key of G in standard tuning. E, A, D, G, B, and E. Circle the root note, the open string for the root note for the key of G. Okay, we're going to identify the root notes and we're going to locate them on the fretboard as we've done in the previous 2 parts. Please review part 1 and part 2 for some demonstrations. All right, so we've identified all the root notes. Now we have to find the 5th. And we can do that simply by identifying where it exists on this string right here, on the 6th string. Here it is. And we see that there's a pattern right here. Well, we continue on with the same strategy of identifying where the note resides on the fretboard using the same technique I used. Well, here we go. We continue on with this and we work, let's see, we can work it backwards. Well, let's see. Okay, so if we work it backwards over here, we know that there's a 5th over here and a 5th over here. Okay, here's an interesting situation. Because of the shift, we have this pattern that exists on the fretboard. We have to take that into consideration. But other than that, the patterns are as follows. When there's a root note other than with it on the B, the 5th will be in this location all the time. That's where it exists. Okay? So let's do it again. We're going to try it. We're going to go through it one more time just to prove it. I like to go over things to make sure. Okay. Now, the 5th resides there because the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. Now we go through the procedure of identifying all the 5ths. On the neck, we work backwards in this manner. Let's see, something is wrong. We have to make sure that we know for sure that a 5th resides here. We have a 5th here, but in this case, using the same procedure, we find that the 5th is here, which is correct because there's a shift. We're taking into consideration the shift. All right, now we have that. We're going to put E, A, D, G, B, E. Root note is the G. Other explanation is this pattern. We're going to look at some patterns now. This pattern should be familiar to you. known as power chords. Yep, nice rock power chords. The 1 and the 5, these are fifths. Okay, so listen for tonality when you're playing these. So you can also have some nice power chords here as well. And in any configuration that you want to. These can be power chords. That could be a power chord. But these are usually the power chord positions that you're used to up and down the neck. But this is in the key of G, and therefore this is a G power chord. Okay, I'm going to go through it again. So what I'm going through the process of positioning the fifth in relation to the root note, so that I get used to its position, so that I know that when I have the root note E, A, D, G, B, E, it's standard tuning. This is going to be in the key of A. Okay, so we identify the root note. The root notes, plural, on the fretboard of the guitar is where all the root notes reside. Okay? Now, we find where the fifth resides. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, my mistake. Let's see. We have a 5 here. This should be a 5 here. That's correct. This is not right. Let's do it correctly. We're working this out here. 5 here. Here we have a 5 because it falls on the shift. Okay. And we have a 5 here. And a 5 here. We verify. This is power chords, some power chords here for the A power chord here, and a power chord here. There's the shift pattern after it's been shifted that way, but we can identify these, and here's another one right here. Okay. So relative to the root note in A, well, relative in general, relative to the root note, the 5 will always reside in this position relative to the root note. Even if okay, so let's take another key. The key of, let's say E, okay? E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay, I just open that up here. We know that the root note is definitely at the 12th fret. Okay, so we could actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a 5 here. Okay, we can work this backwards. Here. Work this backwards. And we can work these backwards as well too. Once you start to work these, you will get a little bit better at learning their positions. Okay. And where else? And then there's, of course, the E position here. We know a 5 resides there. Here is that shift over here. Let's see, 5 will reside here. 5. We have a root node here and a root node here. There's another shift this way and a shift over here and a root node over here. I simply deduce that that's where the root node and or the 5th is located relative to the 1. So you see the pattern here? We're starting to formulate a pattern. It's not willy-nilly. This is where the 5 is always going to reside. So you just have to go through it and learn those patterns so that you can figure this out. Again, here's a power chord in the key of E, and here's a power chord in the key of E, another power chord in the key of E, and perhaps that's a choice for a power chord. And all of these are power chords in their own way that can be experimented with whatever song you may be wanting to create. But experiment around. It's worth it, and now you understand why it works. Okay? That's the most important part. You're starting to think in a logical way, not just by copying a book that's telling you what chord to play, and then you're just blindly putting your fingers without really understanding. So these are the foundations of trying to understand how to build chords or how chords are built. Okay, so print yourself out a bunch of these blanks and just repeat, rinse, repeat until you have it down like the back of your hand. Okay, wait till I'll see you next time, and wait for the part 4 to come out, which will be soon. Okay, have a nice day. Goodbye.